من به دکتر دانیل یه ریکوستی بدم، حالا خدا کنه این هی میچرخه. Go in a live room. Hello, Dr. Daniel.
Hello, Hadi. How are you?
Fine, thanks. I owe you an apologize because of my internet connection, and sorry for delay. And
Okay, no problem.
I apologize, everyone. Sorry. Let me turn off the connection, the comments, and I hope you're doing well and feeling safe. Thank you for accepting my invitation for having a live, basically talking about futsal, our passion and our love.
Thank you for the invitation.
First of all, yeah, please go on.
No, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. For me, it is a pleasure to be here and trying to talk about futsal and share my experiences with you and all your followers.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. First of all, let's start, Dr. Daniel. Please have a little brief introduction about yourself and tell us your futsal journey.
Okay, so I was born in Spain, but then because I started to do my PhD in exercise and sport science, I moved to England and I spent 8 years in England working first as a sports scientist, strength and conditioning coach for different sports with different national governing bodies like England basketball, British basketball, England beach soccer, with different clubs, basketball, hockey, and eventually I moved into futsal because I played futsal when I was a kid back in Spain. So I was the sports scientist, and then I moved from that role into coaching for Manchester Futsal Club, for Sheffield FC Futsal, and then in Loughborough for the International Futsal Academy. And at the same time, I was a member of the technical staff for the England national futsal team. That was during 8 years, between 2008 and 2016. And then in 2016, I had the offer to come full-time to the US. Before, I did a couple of months here in 2014, 2015. I came to the US 3-4 months. But then in 2016, I moved full-time here to the US. I am based in San Francisco in California. And now it's going to be like my fifth year here. We have a club. We have futsal, a futsal club, Bay Area Futsal Club. Basically, that is my job right now here.
Are you the owner of the club? Are you owner of the club?
We are.
Or you have a career in this club?
So we founded 3 friends. So me and 2 friends. We founded the club in 2017.
I see.
In all this journey in futsal, in England, here in Spain, I've been working for the England futsal. I was working in the PFL here in the US for the US representative team in a couple of tournaments that they did in Texas and Orlando against Barcelona and against Mexico. And lately, in the last African Cup of Nations, I was the assistant coach for the Libya futsal national team. So that is a bit of my background. I am a doctor in exercise and sport science. Personally, I am a runner. My whole life, I've been a long distance runner. So I am still competing when I have time.
Very good. Thank you for your great introduction. And if you agree, let's start asking the question step by step about the grassroots. So the first question of mine is that who is better futsal player in a near future? How do you see the future of futsal player?
So that is difficult because you never know what is going to happen, okay? But there is a Brazilian, but there is, because injuries happen, so then the players, they don't really perform at the level that you expected. But I think right now there is a player in Magnus Futsal in Brazil. He's a Brazilian player. His name is Leozinho. I think he's very, very good. There is some clips over there with he's a tremendous player in the 1v1. He's been a
I have checked it on the YouTube. Okay, I have seen some very, he is excellently great on 1v1 situation. I have seen that.
Yes. So I'm not sure, but I think in the last Futsal Planet Awards, I think he was the best. He was elected the best young player in 2020. So I think Leozinho could be a good player for the future. There is another Brazilian player that is playing for Corinthians. His name is Guilhermão. I think is another one that maybe for the future could be good. And then I think in Spain.
Is he playing for the Corinthians?
Yes.
Is he playing for Corinthians club? Huh?
Yes. And then there are 2 players in Spain that, in my opinion, they have a tremendous future. This season, both of them, they exploded. They even made their debuts with the Spanish national futsal team. One is playing for El Pozo Murcia, Alberto, and the other one is playing for Jimbi Cartagena, Mellado. So I think between those 4, I think that's the future for futsal right now.
Very good. Thanks for your answer, Dr. Daniel. As we know that if every country wants to have very great national team and playing in the high level, they have to, train very great futsal player in the youth level. So basically, How could we recognize a futsal talent in the grassroots level?
So I really think it's very difficult. This thing in every single sport is, in my opinion, is super difficult to identify a future talent, because you never know what is going to happen. Some players, they develop very, very early. Some players, they develop really, really late. But I think what we are looking for players is ability with the ball. So there are players that they have a good ball manipulation, that they have a good ball control, they have a 1v1, and also they are brave. They have the courage, they have the bravery to do 1v1s in different situations. They are smart, so they are players that they can read the game. They are able to. They are players that they are able to play in tight space. So where the space is very, very limited. And for me, something that is very important is, I think we should have players that they are able to adapt to different scenarios, to adapt to different situations very, very quick. Because in futsal you are attacking, then suddenly you are defending, and you should be able to adapt and mentally to switch very, very quick to be ready for that situation. And I think that's
So
super important.
I see. So ball manipulation, being good in 1v1 situation, being fast and quick, and having the ability to read the game. So these are the most important factors of a futsal talents. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's go to the next question, Dr. Daniel.
Yes.
Basically, as we know that in the grassroots level, we have to have a special, the classification of age level, or for example, if you want to, the parents come to our clubs and they, sign up their children to our clubs, and they want them to become a futsal player for the future, and because they want to their children have a fame, and
Yes.
then how we should, classify the children in the classes and in the level of the ages that is based on our academies.
So if we think about the structure of a whole academy or a whole club, if we go from top to bottom, we should have a first team. This is by the way, this is going to be the ideal scenario. We have a top team, the first team, then we have a reserve team. So then we have the under 18 players. So basically the gap between the under 18s and the first team, we have that reserve of B team in the middle. Then we have under 16s, under 14s, under 12s, under 10, and then we can have under 6 every 2 years. So we have categories that they are organized every 2 years. Yes, under 6. So now from bottom to top, under 6, under 8, under 10, under 12, under 18, a reserve or B team, and then the first team.
Excuse me, Dr. Daniel, I have a question.
Yes.
What is the reason that we have this classification every 2 years for the players in the grassroots?
So, for example, here in the US, the categories, they are yearly, every year.
Mm-hmm.
I really think it's better to have 2 years, but then you need to organize your teams. Ideally, you have always the 50% of your players, they are from year 1, and the 50% of the players, they are from year 2. So you always have half of the team, they are 1 year younger than the other. And that is the way that you develop those players, because they are going to be playing 1 year against players that they are 1 year older, but then the next year, they are the ones that they are going to help to develop the other ones. I think most of them, sorry to interrupt, but most of the academies in Europe, they work with this model, like every 2 years. And in Spain, it's like that. In the US, however, it's every year. Every year when we are talking about club, soccer in clubs is every year. However, then when they go to the academies, to the elite, it's again every 2 years.
Thank you so much. So the other question that imaged to my mind right now is that we have very special ages between 8 years old to 12 that we're naming this area a golden age. So what is the reason that we call this age between 8 to 12 the golden age? Why this important period is very important? Why this period is so important?
Well, I think it's because there is some studies, there is some science over there about the long-term athlete development, that at that age, if the abilities that you develop at that age, if you don't do it in that moment, it will be difficult to get the same expertise or the same level that if you develop them later on. So that is why, in my opinion, when under 6, for example, we should be focused on the basic motor skills, like running, jogging, jumping, throwing, rolling, kicking, just the basic motor skills. Of course, we can relate them to our sport, but I would focus on that. And then when they are under 8, in my opinion, we should start working on the relationship between the player, one player, and the ball. One player and the ball. So we start with ball manipulation, roll the ball, touch the ball. So all these kind of dribbling the ball around with the inside of the foot, with the outside. So we should focus on that. And then when they are under 10s, we can start what we call in Spain the game of one. So basically, one player and everything that one player with the ball can do, offensively and defensively, okay? Like,
I see.
Tackling, marking, basic defensive position. If we are talking about offensive, like dribbling the ball, passing the ball, controlling the ball, shooting, and then we build from there. So then we introduce the second player when they are under 12. Then we introduce the third player when they are under 14s, and then we are starting to introduce the fourth player when they are under 16s, and then by the time that they are starting to play under 18, we should just work on systems and rotations and the whole game.
Thank you so much. So I've got my next question's answer, okay?
Okay.
And
that is very important in this thing also, is to have a balance, okay? To have a balance between the training of technique and the training of tactics, okay? I know it's very difficult to separate technique and tactic, but we should focus more on technique when the players they are younger. So, for example, when they are, when they are under 10s, okay? When they are under 10s, the players, our training sessions should be maybe 80% of the training sessions should be focused on technique, 20% on tactic. However, when the players they are getting older and older and older, and we go into the under 18, by the under 18 should be the opposite way around. So maybe we should focus just 20%, 15% of our training sessions on technique, and we focus on tactic the 85% of the sessions. So basically, if we draw a line, it's going to be like completely opposite lines.
I see. Thank you so much. It was very great tips that, I've learned a lot of things from this great explanation. Right now, I want to mention something that from these, short, phrases, we can reach to the questions.
Yes.
As we know that, in the youth level and in the grassroots levels, we have the process of maturation.
Yes.
the maturation happen during special ages. For some players are early maturation, and for some of them are late maturation. And I want to know that why it is important to recognize these ages, okay, the maturation. I mean, what is the benefits of understanding biological ages or chronological ages?
So this is very interesting because, you know, as you mentioned, some players, some kids, they develop earlier than others. This is one of the problems we have. Then when we group the players by chronological age, imagine one player that is born the 1st of January is going to play on the same team as one player that is born on the 31st of December of the same year. But actually, the difference is they are 1 year, almost 1 year younger or older, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that is going to have a great impact on the game. So for me, we should be able to understand the chronological age and the maturity of the players, to group them in the group of players that they are at the same level, basically. There is something new. There is something new that I don't know if you heard, that is called bio banding. Okay. And basically,
I have read a little bit about biobanding, a little bit on the research that you showed me before.
So the biobanding basically means that you group players based on their individual growth and maturation attributes or stages. So basically, it doesn't matter when they were born, you put them on the group that they are at the same maturation stage.
Dr. Daniel, what I understand about biobanding is that, for example, we have a player with the 13 years old, and he has a late maturation, and
Yes.
we have a 10 years boy that it has a early maturation, and we have to put these two players together.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much. So you can continue your explanation.
So basically, what I really think that we should be able to put players at the right group and level to improve their development. Sometimes this is very difficult because federations, for example, a 12 years old boy that is not mature enough, you cannot put him to play with youngers than 11 years old. You can always play up, but you cannot play down. This is one of the problems that I really think that we should look at it.
I see. So we have to put the players that have early maturation one level upper, okay?
For example, sometimes, not always, but sometimes maybe that is a good opportunity. But this is, we can do that. The problem is the other way around. That players that they are late developers, we cannot play them down because they are older. This is something that right now federations don't allow to do.
Thank you so much for your explanation. So I have another question about the maturation. In the Europe and in the USA, how you can recognize the maturation, the exact time of maturation of player? Or once I have read that in the bones we have some growth plates, okay? And are you tell the players and parents to bring you the X-ray pictures of their bones?
So that is one. There are different ways to do it. One of the ways is exactly through technology with X-ray of the usually is the wrist, I think. The other way is to analyze their bodies, basically some attributes about if they are starting to grow hair or not. So there are different ways. Some ways basically with some equations about and your sit down height, your leg length. There are different tests and methodologies to kind of know the maturation status of the players.
It would be very pleased if you know any methodologies, an article, or any research that is about the understanding of the maturation age. You will send me, and
Yes,
I
no
will
problem.
thank you. Thank you so much. So
Good.
let's go to the next question, Dr. Daniel. Let's talk about the methodology of teaching, methodology of training.
Yes.
As we know that we have different kind of methodologies about training players.
Yes.
So do you prefer to use a multiple development training for the grassroots level or specialization? Let me give an example for our audience to understand what we are going to talk about. For example, if parents come to your club and they want to sign up their children to your club, and do you suggest them just to play futsal only, or you let them to play a lot of sports like swimming, like gymnastic, and so on? So is it better to use multiple development for the grassroots level or specialization?
Oh, definitely, multiple sports is the answer. There are so many studies about that players that they played multiple sports when they were growing up to high school level, they have less injuries later on. Okay, this is because they have developed basically in a balanced way their body. Okay.
See. For
So
example, they exactly they improve in that period, they improve their aerobic system of body and anaerobic system together, okay?
yes, for example, so for me, never early specialization in sports, or never early specialization in positions, which means in futsal, if we are talking about futsal, I would never specialize any player in one specific position when they are very, very young. So no full-time
Thank you.
keepers, no full-time goalkeepers when they are under 8, under 6, under 10 years old. Everybody should be playing in all the positions. Then
So what's the reason, Dr. Daniel? Why do you prefer them to play in all positions?
the first thing, because they are going to develop the player overall in a better way. They are going to understand the game better because they are going to understand the game from the different perspectives of each position. And then I would start to do a specific training to players in each position when they are under 16.
I see.
So when they are under 16, I really think we can start saying, okay, you are a pivot, so let's do a specific training for a pivot. You are a winger, let's do a specific training for a player that you play on the wing.
After 18 years old?
16, under 16.
After 16.
Under 16. Maybe with goalkeepers, you can start having you are under 14, but until you are 14 years old, I really think you should never just specialize on one specific position every single training session.
Thank you so much. So, as we know that, the childhood is created for having fun.
Yes.
Okay? And what we should do for the kids to enjoy of playing futsal. I mean, about designing drills and exercises in our club.
So that is another example, that we need to use training sessions and drills that the players, and you said that the players have fun. So this is the most important thing. So for example, no lines, because if you are in a line just waiting for your turn, you are not doing anything. So you are not improving your skills. then you are getting bored because you are waiting for your turn, and then you are not you are using the time efficiently. So we need to design sessions and activities where the kids, they are always involved, they are always playing, and when they are under 6, should be every kid with a ball. When they are under 8, every kid with a ball. When they are under 8, under 10s, maximum 2 players per 1 ball. So if we have 20 kids, I think we should have 10 balls playing around. So every 2 players, they have 1 ball. That way we encourage the players, and then that is us coaches thinking about how to develop activities, exercises, and drills that we can have as many kids as possible involved, participating without waiting.
Very good. Thank you for your wise answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. Now the important question springs to my mind about the grassroots level is that physical training.
Yes.
Most important question. Are we allowed to have physical training for the youth level and grassroots? As we talk about the growth plates maybe is growing during the maturation. So, and these plates are not completely in those ages of maturation. I think the physical training is going to harm these kind of plates if we have this kind of training, specific physical training with the kids. So, and the other belief said that we can do physical training with the kids, and there is no, there is no obligation for that.
So the answer is yes. The answer is we should do physical training for the kids. So definitely, but we should do the appropriate training for the age. So kids are not little men. So they have their own characteristics because they are developing. So in my opinion, there is in Canada, in the 90s, it was one guy called Isban Bailey or Bailey, okay, that developed the LTAD model, or the long-term athlete development model, okay? And there are some stages, I think it's 7 stages, in the sport career of a person. Since that player or since that person starts practicing a sport to when that person retires from a sport. And at each specific stage, there is some concepts, there is some abilities, there is some physical attributes that they should be working on. So you go to that age, you can read, okay, in this age, it is recommended to work on this, and this. And we should be able to, with that information, design our drills and our sessions to try to focus our sessions on those particularly fitness demands that we need. So, for example, at that ages, there is called the windows of opportunity to development. So there is some specific ages that if you don't work on a speed, for example, then that person will never get that level again on that. So I think it's super recommended that you check that manual. It is available online. It is completely free to download, the long-term athlete development model by Ian Bailey from Canada.
Thank you for your answer, Dr. Daniel. And the other questions that I have to ask is about the coordination.
Yes.
As you know that we talked before about the maturation. When the maturation happens, it has, there are some hormones that published during the body, and the length of the hands and legs are going to prolong, and the coordination is going to become unbalanced. And what we should do in this during period?
So you know that kids, the first thing at the beginning, they don't have laterality. They don't have dominance for one side or the other side, and then they are starting to develop that. So like, okay, my dominant side is going to be the right. I'm going to write with my right hand, or I'm going to write with my left. So then the body develops that laterality, and there are three things. That one is your laterality with your eyes. Which eye is the most dominant one? Then we have the hands, of course. Which hand do you use? And then you have your feet. Which foot is going to be your weak one, and which foot is going to be your strong one? So the first thing is coordination in your body. So the general coordination, but also then we need to work on coordination in between your limbs. So can I move my right arm forward and the other one backward? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Can I throw something and then kick something? So there is a progression on these kind of things. And as I mentioned before, there is a lot of things that we should be working always with both sides of our body, not only one. So we should be working with the right, we should be working with the left, we should be working with the right foot and the left foot, right hand, left hand. But at the same time, we should be working with different, for example, objects. Modify the size of the ball, even the shape of the ball. So for example, sometimes it's good to play with a rugby ball because the rugby ball is less bouncing in different ways, so you have to react. I really think that to have coordinated players is key, and that is not for futsal specifically, or basketball, or football, or rugby. This is one of the basic motor skills. This is like,
from which age we should start this kind of training?
I think you should start working on your agility and your coordination since you are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
So they are the basic movement of motor skills.
That's the basic. With the foundations. The foundations are the agility, the coordination, and then all the basic motor skills that I mentioned before. This is your whole physical literacy, and that is the foundation. Your physical literacy is the foundation for any sport that you want to practice later.
Thank you so much for your answer, Dr. Daniel. It was very, great honor and pleasure to have you online here. About the last questions that I want to have is about the next World Cup that we are going to be watched later. What is your prediction about the next World Cup? Who is going to be champion for the next World Cup? What's your prediction?
This is a difficult question always, because in a major tournament like a World Cup, surprising things could happen. You know that.
Yeah.
But if you are asking me, actually, in the last World Cup, the one in Colombia in 2016, the favorite teams, they were Spain or Brazil, and none of them they go farther than the quarterfinals. So now for this World Cup in Lithuania in 2021, hopefully, if the pandemic allows, I really think that you should always consider Brazil as one of the potential champions, because they have so many players, all of them very, very talented, and they are very good individually. And now with Marquinhos Xavier as a head coach, they are starting to play very, very good again as a team together. So now they have this team togetherness, but at the same time, they have this individual talent that maybe some other teams don't have. So I really think Brazil could be one of them. Then we need to see Argentina, if Argentina can keep up what they did with Diego Gustotti 5 years ago, now with Matias Luquis. Let's see if Argentina can keep up. You know, there are so many players from Argentina playing in Europe, which is very good, but also there are some players playing in Argentina, and in Argentina they have now a national futsal league. So that for sure would have helped to develop more Argentinian players. Then I have to go with if we talk about Asia, I have to go with you guys. I really think that Iran could be a surprise. I really think they deserve it. I really think that in the last years they have developed the sport a lot. These players very, very good, very, very skillful. Then you had Jesus Candelas working with you guys for a couple of years over there, and I really think he changed this thing about, okay, as a team, okay, it's very good. You are very good individually, but now you have more understanding of team tactics. So I really think that Iran could be a surprise, and I really think that it could be good for futsal if some country from Asia is a surprise. Of course, I have to mention Spain, okay, because it's my country, and because I really think that they are doing good things in Spain now. And I think, not sure if they can win, but I really think Morocco could be a very nice surprise, because they are doing very, very good things in Africa. They are the African champions in the last two futsal cups in Africa. There are so many players.
I see.
There are so many players now playing in Europe too, in first division, in Spain, in Italy, in France. And I know that the federation is putting a lot of effort in Morocco, so I really think could be a good surprise. So I think the champions will come between Brazil, Argentina, Iran, or Spain, but I think Morocco could be up there. So let's see if I'm right or not.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for your time and for your explanation. Every answer was very wise and amazingly unbelievable. I really enjoyed of this live on Instagram with you, and it was very great and honor. I hope the members and audience and all of them are. I'm sure that they enjoyed of this talking, because it was very, very great discussion that we had, and I hope that we could publish this live again later. And right now, I want to, give you an suggestion right now, because I want you to give me, the permission of having another live later with another topic. If you're agreed, you can tell us right now.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime that you want me to collaborate with anything, I am completely open to it. Of course, we have to coordinate the logistics about time, date, and everything. But yes, definitely for me it is a pleasure to help, to try to help you guys. And yes, definitely my answer is of course. It will be a tremendous pleasure for me to help you.
Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for everything that you have prepared for us, about the answers, about everything, and even your time. It was very great pleasure to have you here, and we would like to hear your last words.
No, for me it has been a pleasure. Apologize, of course, for all the technical difficulties that we had at the beginning. But you know, sometimes with technology, this thing happens. I would like to thank you for basically organize this and having me here. So for being the host. Also to everybody that has been watching us. I don't know if there is any questions over there, but I am free to answer any questions that you guys have for me. Any open question, I will try my best. And again, you know, hopefully we will be able to publish this later on in any platform that people that could not join live now, they have the opportunity to watch it later. And as I mentioned, my answer is yes. I would be able to connect again in a future date and try to.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. And it is time to say goodbye. And you are very welcomed. And we hope that one time and one day will be your, hosts in Iran, and you accept my invitation. You are free to come over here in Iran, and we are our arms is open always to you, and you can always come here. Sorry, Dr. Daniel. I apologize for, there was a little bit delay on connection and I couldn't see your face. So I have to say goodbye, Dr. Daniel, and thank you for your time again. And it was very great honor and pleasure. Dr. Daniel, can you hear my voice? I don't know why the voice is disconnected. I don't know why. So I cannot hear too, okay? We have to say goodbye, okay?